All right, let's jump into spoilers. For anyone that hasn't watched the film, go check it out. We're now in spoilers.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first things to comment on is that this
Jesus.
The first thing to comment on is that this movie is probably best described as, take care of Jack movie. And I'm not disappointed in the slightest. One of my favorite little skits from the first one was the babysitter trying to take care of Jack, and they've just expanded on that with this one. I really enjoyed it. The best, you and me were talking, the best scene of this entire film was the raccoon scene.
Yeah, Jack and the raccoon.
I could watch that scene, 100 times.
That was definitely the best scene by far. I was you were chuckling away in the cinema. I was just loving it.
Mm-hmm.
He almost reminded me of Scrat from the Ice Age films.
Yeah. Very kind of like that style of
he had the same sort of snout. I don't know. He reminded me of that. But truly a fantastic scene. And Jack's powers is a fun aspect of this film.
Yeah, and there's a lot of comedic aspect with that you can do. I really enjoyed the fact that with no dialogue and just kind of animating their faces and their movements, you could get a really good sense of what these characters were thinking in that interaction. I mean, the way that they animated that raccoon was really spectacular, and I loved the lead up to it as well. I loved looking at the TV, seeing the masks, just the expression on Jack's face. That all made for a really entertaining scene.
I loved like Mr. Incredible discovering his powers, discovering Jack's powers.
Becoming
and that
more and
sequence, like where he's reading him the book, Jack falls asleep, then he puts him to bed, then he goes and sits on the couch, and then just the repetition of that scene was really fun.
Yeah,
and great, as you said, Jack, like that animation on that character. He doesn't say a word, but you see pure delight in that baby's face, and it's infectious. It's so like,
it's really well done, and
it's hilarious.
I think it's tough to contend with that when you're trying to kind of think of the plot of this film. I think they knew that they needed a villain, and they knew that they wanted Jack to be interacting at home and that, and I think those are two things that are hard to like give due attention to in one film. Which kind of leads us to we talked about in the non-spoiler review about the sister being quite obviously the villain. Did you pick the sister, or did you kind of pick at least the sister or the brother?
Yeah, I picked it's them, not necessarily just a sister. But honestly, there wasn't enough to the fact that the brother wasn't involved that it made it interesting.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was going to be her. But one of the things that I hate that movies do is when a character or a company or a theme or anything like that is introduced in a movie, you can tell how they want the audience to align themselves based on the kind of like the music and the mood and the positioning. Like if a character comes out and seems like a bit of a dick, or like there's an ominous sound, like you're like, all right, well, this is, they're setting up for some kind of reveal, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it makes it too obvious. It adds too much of a precursor to it. It telegraphs it.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember the scene very specifically. He invited them to DevTech, and the first shot of the building, you get this ominous music, and you're like, all right, I'm meant to associate DevTech with being
the bad guy
without you explicitly telling me. So you're like, all right, this has immediately set my expectations for these characters.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the next scene, they position it as he's a bit of a weird kind of dick, and then she's like the sister that we're meant to feel sorry for. So again, it feels like they're trying to move our emotions one way or another, and it just, to me, it kind of screamed, she's the one, like she's gonna.
I don't know what it was. It was about that first scene when they came in. She came in late.
Yeah,
I was like, you guys, there's nobody else in this other than the Underminer, and I'm pretty sure he's not coming back we've already moved on from that character.
Yeah.
It's got to be you guys.
Yeah.
So that was and that was for me the weak part of the film, and we spent so much time following Elastigirl, unraveling these mysteries, and it was just like it felt so flaccid.
Yeah. And then that kind of that was a little bit disappointing.
Because the thing is, with all those scenes that are so fantastic with Jack and all that, that's fantastic. But you can put that in any kind of other Incredibles 3, Incredibles 4, any different. There was no integration. I didn't feel there was a proper integration of the family with the plot.
I think that there was. And I don't think it was the integration that really...
there was the commentary on the superheroes and, being born into the family with certain powers. You have a certain responsibility.
No,
and,
I think that...
superheroes illegals when they do good, vigilanteism.
That whole part I thought was good.
I thought that was good.
That was the part that I enjoyed.
It was fine.
The part that I think let me down was the villain, ultimately. I think that's what really kind of... If we're going to boil it down to one thing, it was the fairly obvious nature of the reveal. I didn't really connect with the brother and sister very much. He felt very sleazy, and it felt like they were kind of purposely doing that. I don't know. I don't know how to kind of describe it. It's very subtle in the way that they present these characters.
It's not just the reveal that's the issue. It's the way, the plot, and the way the sequence of events. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that it's nothing to do with the connection with the family or the connection with that side plot, because I think that was all done really well. For me, it's literally just that reveal side of it left me wanting a little bit more. And I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying I would have preferred something a little bit more, I don't know, spicy.
I think one thing I liked was some of the other characters they brought in, like Void. I thought that was a really cool character. I liked how they kind of enhanced the superhero world. There's other...
Well, yeah, there's obviously
like
other
like
superheroes
the owl guy
out there.
And there's the guy who crushed metal.
Some weird costume or weird design.
It worked for me.
Yeah, I liked it.
I wish they'd gone a bit more further into that.
Well, see, again, I don't think they should have. I think they were already spreading their resources. This is a 2-hour film. It's a long film. There's a lot that they needed to cover. I don't think, if anything, they should have been cutting some of that, maybe.
What about the action? Did you like the action sequences? Because nothing really stands out to me. Like the boat at the end, the train scene.
It depends on what you mean. I liked the concept that they had with the bike. I thought that was kind of fun. That Elastigirl's bike would split in two, and then she would be able to
give it that.
Jump around.
I'll give it that.
On a concept level, that's really cool.
That probably was the best action scene.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. The best action scene is still Jack and the rodent, and I consider that an action scene because I don't know. This is the most ridiculous
kind of
thing.
Is.
Well, when you think about it, somehow both the raccoon and Jack know karate. They're going at it in a fight scene. It's not just they're blocking punches and throwing jabs and stuff. It's really funny, and when you think about it. But there's some really cool aspects to that. The train scene I think was pretty cool. I liked the tech of the boat, from a concept level.
What about the Underminer scene at the beginning? Did you like that? I thought that was solid. Nothing amazing.
Pretty solid. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I think in general, I was just, I wasn't going in expecting a lot, but it kind of did disappoint me a little bit. And that sounds really stupid, but yeah, maybe it was the reviews that I read before and how high it is on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe that sort of...
What's it on for Rotten Tomatoes?
90-something?
It's on 95 apparently. I don't know if it deserves a 95.
I was expecting I'm expecting a WALL-E, I'm expecting an Up, I'm expecting a Toy Story 3, and Incredibles 2 is not one of those.
So look, wait. So IMDb and Metacritic have it sitting around between 80 and 86%. Rotten Tomatoes has a 95%. I actually agree with that Rotten Tomatoes in the sense that it's meant to be taken as a Rotten Tomatoes score. So I don't think anyone should put this as rotten. I don't think there's anything in this that has failed enough to put it as rotten. So
fair enough.
As far as I'm concerned, that should be 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it's that divisive. I think it's a solid film. It looks really good. It does fail on the villain aspect, or not even fail, but doesn't quite deliver on the villain aspect. But everything else I think is really top notch.
But for me, it's a 6 out of 10 to 7 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it even hits an 8.
I think for me, it's sitting pretty safely around an 8. I don't like those
we
kind
don't
of
do
scores.
We don't, but I guess in relation to that Rotten Tomatoes, 95% of all people give it a positive rating, as opposed as a yes or a no.
If someone came to you and said that this is a stinker,
no, it's not. It's a thumbs up. In Rotten Tomatoes, it's not rotten. It's a thumbs up.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me.
It does, yes.
So that score makes sense.
But when you see 95%, in my mind, I equate that to, wow, that's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I shouldn't, but I do. And, I guess I'm on my own worst feeling, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other things that kind of stuck out?
No. I just really want to go watch the first one.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm trying to think of in terms of scenes and things that I enjoyed, the Edna bit in this I thought was as enjoyable perhaps as the first one. Her outrage that she was wearing something else, like that was a fun thing for me that they set that up, because you knew as soon as they said that there was a different costume designer, you knew that was going to cause some conflict. Yeah. and that I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the ensuing dialogue between her and
Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible, yeah.
Yeah, good fun.
Look, I think that this is a good sign for Pixar. I think this is a step in the right direction. When I think about what they've put out recently, I'm very happy. Did you ever watch Coco?
No, I missed that.
I really recommend it.
Yeah, everyone said it was quite good.
I really enjoyed it. It was a gorgeous film, really gorgeous film. And I think it's really really worth giving a look.
I must definitely check that out. Well, guys, that's our review for Incredibles 2. Let us know what you thought of the film in the comments on YouTube. And, of course, you can listen to this episode on YouTube with visuals or on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to give us a like on Facebook and Instagram at The Podcast Strikes Back. We'll be back next week with some more movie antics with the boys Connor.
Fairly well.
And your boy George.
And Ben, hopefully.
Ben should be back. See you if you